Chúng tôi xin thâu đoạn ngắn video này nói về vấn đề ăn uống như thế nào để ngừa tiểu đường, áp huyết cao cũng như những cái bệnh liên hệ tới tâm, can, tỳ, phế, thận. Mời quý vị theo dõi video này ạ.
To reduce uric acid, and what are the worst things that cause uric acid, and what actually helps reduce uric acid?
Sure. Let's talk about the causes or the sources of uric acid. Where's it coming from? And did we mention fructose? Fructose is the gorilla in the room, right? So fructose, again, was our signal that scarcity was coming, that winter is coming, eat the berries. Fructose is telling your body, make fat, raise blood sugar, raise blood pressure because you might not have water to drink. So fructose is, by and large, the biggest player. Fruit juice, sodas, added to sauces, added to just about anything that's in a package these days.
Salad dressing.
You bet. And we love it because it's
tomato sauce.
And again, fruit is okay. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Not apples and cherries and high fructose fruits all day long, but have some fruit by all means.
Right.
The next thing we consider that's certainly less important are something called purines. Purines, all fruits, vegetables, and meats, really anything we eat, has in it some DNA and RNA. When our bodies break that down, then purines are formed, and purines are directly metabolized into uric acid. And interestingly, uric acid favors that and enhances the production of purines in our bodies. Again, a feed-forward cycle. It's trying to keep us alive during times of food scarcity. So, again, we want to avoid those foods that are really rich in purines. I mentioned them already, the organ meats, the shellfish, the smaller fish that we were favoring over time, the anchovies and the sardines. Sure, you can have the anchovies in your Caesar salad, but you don't want to make big meals having 6 ounces or more of any of those.
Oh, I love anchovies.
Yeah, me too. White anchovies, one of my favorites. And the last thing to consider, I think needs a little bit of, we need to double click on this a bit, and that is alcohol. Because alcohol shares the exact same metabolic pathway as fructose. As Robert Lustig has called it, fructose is alcohol without the buzz. So it similarly consumes ATP down to AMP. But in this case, it really matters what kind of alcohol a person is drinking. Wine consumption in men has about 0 effect on uric acid. Wine consumption in women actually is associated with lower uric acid. Hard liquor will raise uric acid, but the worst offender is beer. Why? Because beer not only contains alcohol, but it contains purines that we just talked about from the yeast, the brewer's yeast that is used to make beer. So now we understand the biochemistry that underlies the beer belly. It's coming from this elevation of uric acid, packing the fat away, getting ready for winter. So if you're going to choose a beverage, coffee, a good choice, actually associated with lower uric acid. So those are the big things that we should avoid. I'll make one other comment as it relates to high purine foods. Many people will pull up a list of high purine foods and see many vegetables, things like broccoli, the cruciferous vegetables in general, like kale. Many vegetables have higher levels of purines. Their consumption, though, is associated with lower uric acid. Why? Because, again, fiber, bioflavonoids, vitamin C, which increases uric acid excretion. So eat all the vegetables like that you want. You'll never hear, I don't never say never, but it's going to be hard for me to imagine there'll be a time when I tell people not to eat broccoli or broccoli sprouts.
Right.
That's going to be a tough one for me.
So what are the foods that help bring it down? Because in elevate, stop eating the purine foods, the sugar foods, and the fructose corn syrup foods. What are the
So
foods
we
that
know
actually
that foods that are rich in certain bioflavonoids, for example, quercetin, is a very powerful bioflavonoid. Yes, it's an antioxidant. Yes, it has anti-inflammatory activity. But here's the exciting news about quercetin. A recent study out of Britain demonstrates that 500 milligrams of quercetin a day in just 2 weeks is associated with an 8% lowering of uric acid. That's really significant. So taking quercetin as a supplement is an idea, along with vitamin C. Luteolin also dramatically lowers uric acid on par with allopurinol, which is a pharmaceutical. It's 1-to-1, just about equal to the drug used for gout patients to lower their uric acid. So luteolin and quercetin, very powerful. Vitamin C aids in excretion. I like to round out the program with DHA. It doesn't have direct effects on the pathways that we're talking about, but it does tend to offset some of the damaging effects of fructose in the human body. So those, in terms of supplements, would be good choices. Now, the diet then that you hear me outlining would be one that is mostly plant-based. This is the grain brain doctor, who many people said was just the next Atkins telling us all to eat bacon bits. That's not what we're saying. It's not what I've ever said. But more of a plant-based, higher fiber, colorful. That's where the bioflavonoids are. Colorful type of plate. That's what we're looking for. It's more sustainable. It's better for you. It's better for your gut bacteria. And it will help bring down your uric acid levels.
So, because, in my world, there's not that much difference between flour and sugar. Is that also an issue?
Of course it is. And so, again, anything, we create these feedback loops whereby we enhance these processes that are designed to be enhanced to keep us alive. And as it relates to flour, that will directly elevate our blood sugar. What does that do? That increases insulin resistance. What happens to insulin when it's not working very well? It goes up. Now, here's where the feed forward plays in. It's really quite fascinating. Higher levels of insulin, that can be a consequence of eating refined carbs like flour. Higher levels of insulin increase uric acid by inhibiting the excretion of uric acid in the kidney. So now we've tapped into the whole process of uric acid elevation, everything you and I have been talking about, by virtue of the fact that we're eating these refined carbohydrates. So again, that just activates this mechanism saying, oh my gosh, you're not going to have food very soon. You had better start making fat. You better start retaining salt because you may not have water. You better start increasing your sugar production through the liver, a process called gluconeogenesis, to power your brain so you can find food. That's our ace in the hole. We got we're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, but we have this brain that can help us find food. And, our biggest issues throughout our history were starvation and predation. In other words, either we found food or we were food for somebody else who would eat us. And again, what has saved humans has been the fact that we got this big brain. I don't think it's anymore, another discussion perhaps, but the fact that we can survive by our wits, that's what it's been, that we can find food, we can realize we don't want to go to a certain place because there might be an animal there that can eat us. This is how we survive.
Đó, chúng ta phải cẩn thận khi chọn thức ăn, đó là trong đó có bao gồm trái cây, là những gì mà trái cây, rau cải là những gì mà chúng tôi lưu ý đặc biệt về trái cây và rau cải. Cảm ơn quý vị dành thời giờ theo dõi cuộc hội thảo ngày hôm nay.